The metal doors slid open with a soft hiss. Tor stepped into the white room where 5 alien beings sat around a curved table. Their faces looked nothing like humans. Some had extra eyes, others had skin that changed colors, and one looked like it was made of crystal. These were the rulers of the Galactic Convergence Council. Stood at attention. His body was tall and strong, built for fighting. His eyes were cold and empty. He had been trained since birth to be the perfect weapon. Half human, half alien technology ran through his blood. He felt nothing. He was nothing. He was just a tool for the Council to use. "Subject 779, said the crystal being in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. "You have completed 47 missions without failure." "Yes," Council Leader replied. His voice was flat and without emotion. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms leaned forward. "Today we give you your final assignment. After this mission, your service will be complete." Said nothing. He waited for his orders like always. The crystal being touched a control panel. A hologram appeared in the air above the table. It showed a woman with dark hair and tired eyes. She looked to be around 30 years old. Her clothes were simple and worn. There was something in her eyes that could not understand. It looked almost like hope. "Doctor," the crystal being said, "she is the last of her kind, the last human who escaped before we destroyed their world." Stared at the image. He had seen pictures of Earth before they burned it to ash. He knew what humans looked like, but he had never seen a living one besides himself. "Why must she be eliminated?" asked. It was not curiosity, it was just part of his training to understand his targets. A green alien with tentacles for arms spoke up. "Because she carries the virus, 779, the empathy virus that made humans so dangerous." Nodded. He had been taught about this virus since he was young. Humans had the ability to make other beings feel emotions. They could make logical species act without reason. They could make others care about things that did not matter. This was why Earth had to be destroyed. This was why humans were too dangerous to live. "Doctor has been hiding on Research Station 442B, the blue alien continued. "She is alone there, trying to save samples of human genetic material. She must be stopped before she can spread her virus to other worlds." The crystal being made the hologram larger. Now could see the research station. It was small and old, floating in space near a red star. Only a few ships came and went. It would be easy to get inside. "You will go there as a maintenance worker," the blue alien said. "We have prepared false documents for you. Once you gain her trust, you will eliminate her and destroy all her research." "What about the other people on the station?" asked. "There are only 12 others, scientists and workers. They are not important. Do what you must to complete your mission." Bowed his head. "Understood. When do I leave?" "Your transport is ready now," the crystal being said. "Remember 779. This human may try to use her virus on you. She may try to make you feel things. Do not let her. You are above such weakness." "Yes, Council Leader." The crystal being stood up. The light in the room made its body shine like a rainbow. "You were created to be perfect, 779. You have human genes but none of their flaws. You can think like them, look like them, but you are not weak like them. This is why you are the perfect one to end their kind forever." Walked out of the room. His footsteps were quiet on the metal floor. He felt nothing about his mission. He had killed 47 targets before. This would just be number 48. In the transport bay, a small ship waited for him. It was designed to look like a civilian cargo vessel. Inside were his new identity papers, his maintenance worker clothes, and his weapons. Everything had been planned perfectly. As the ship lifted off from the council station, looked out at the stars. He had never wondered what it would be like to be fully human. He had never wondered what it would be like to feel the emotions that made humans so dangerous. He was above such things. The journey to 442B would take 3 days. Spent the time reviewing the mission files. He learned about Doctor. She had been a genetic scientist on Earth. She had worked on projects to preserve endangered species. When the Council ships came to destroy Earth, she had stolen a research vessel and escaped with thousands of genetic samples. For 2 years she had been hiding and moving from place to place. The Council had sent many hunters after her, but she was smart. She always stayed one step ahead, until now. Read that she was working alone on the station. She had convinced the station manager that she was researching ways to help damaged ecosystems on colony worlds. It was a lie, but the manager believed her because she paid well for lab space. The files said she was dangerous because she was desperate. When humans became desperate, they could do unpredictable things. They could inspire others to help them. They could make others care about their cause. This was the empathy virus at work. Looked at her picture again. She did not look dangerous. She looked tired and sad, but he knew that was probably just another human trick. They were good at hiding their true nature. When his ship finally reached the research station, put on his maintenance worker clothes. He checked his weapons one last time. They were hidden in his tool kit, small but deadly. The station was old and needed repairs. It would be easy to explain why he was there. He would fix things during the day and watch Doctor at night. When the time was right, he would complete his mission. As his ship docked with the station, felt ready. He was the perfect weapon. He would not fail. Doctor would be dead within a week, and the human threat would finally be over forever. The airlock opened with a loud clank. Stepped onto research station 442 B carrying his tool kit and a small bag of clothes. The station smelled like old metal and recycled air. Everything looked worn and patched up many times. A short man with gray hair walked up to him. "You must be the new maintenance guy. I'm station manager. Welcome to our little corner of nowhere." "Thank you, sir. I'm Tors," said, using the shorter name from his false papers. "I'm here to fix your environmental systems." Laughed, "Good luck with that. This place is held together with tape and prayers. Your room is down that hall. Mess hall serves food at 6. Try not to break anything important." Nodded and walked down the narrow hallway. The station was smaller than he expected. 12 people lived and worked here. It would not take long to find Doctor. His room was tiny. Just a bed, a desk, and a small window that looked out at the Red Star. Put his things away and studied the station map on his computer. The research labs were on level 3. Doctor would be there. That evening went to the mess hall. Most of the station crew was there, eating dinner and talking. He sat alone at a small table and ate the simple food. It tasted better than the nutrition bars he was used to. "You're new here." Looked up. A woman sat down across from him. It was her, Doctor. She looked just like her picture, but her eyes seemed more alive in person. She was holding a cup of something that smelled like flowers. "Yes, I fix things," he said simply. I break things," she said with a small smile. "Well, not on purpose. I'm a scientist. Sometimes my experiments don't go as planned." Studied her face. She seemed relaxed and friendly, not like someone who was hiding from galactic hunters. "What kind of science do you do?" "Genetics. I'm trying to help damaged ecosystems recover after disasters. What about you? What kind of things do you fix?" "Environmental systems, air recyclers, water purifiers, gravity generators." Kept his answers short. The less he talked, the less chance he would make a mistake. Nodded. "Good. The air recycler in Lab 7 has been making strange noises. Maybe you could look at it tomorrow." "Of course." She smiled again. There was something warm about her smile that did not understand. It made him feel strange in a way he had never felt before. "Where are you from?" asked. Had prepared for this question. "Colony World Titan 3, born and raised there." "I've never been there. What's it like?" "Cold, quiet, not many people." Tilted her head slightly. "That sounds lonely." "I prefer being alone," said. But as he said it, he wondered why his question made him think about loneliness at all. He had never thought about being lonely before. Well, you won't be alone here. We're like a little family on this station, strange but friendly. After dinner, showed him around the station. She pointed out where everything was and introduced him to other crew members. Everyone seemed to know her well. They smiled when they saw her and asked about her work. She asked them about their families and remembered details about their lives. "Why do you care so much about these people?" asked when they were alone again. Looked surprised by the question. "What do you mean?" "You ask them about their personal lives. You remember things that are not important to the work." Stopped walking and looked at him carefully. "Those things are the most important. These people are away from their families, working in a tin can floating in space. If we don't care about each other, what's the point?" Did not understand her answer. On his missions, he worked with other agents sometimes. They never talked about personal things. They just did their jobs and left. "You seem like you've been alone for a long time," said softly. "I work alone." "That's not the same thing as being alone by choice. Come on, let me show you Lab 7. You can see what's wrong with that air recycler." Lab 7 was main workspace. It was full of computers and strange machines that hummed quietly. Glass containers held things that looked like plants and small animals. Everything was clean and organized. "This is beautiful," said without thinking. He immediately regretted the words. Weapons did not think things were beautiful. But smiled. "Thank you. I've worked hard to make it feel right. This is where I keep the most important samples." She walked over to a wall of small containers. Each one had a label and was kept at a specific temperature. "These are genetic samples from different worlds. Some of them are from species that don't exist anymore." "Why do you save them?" "Because every living thing matters. Every species has something unique to offer. When we lose them, we lose part of what makes the universe wonderful." Looked at the samples. He had been taught that only useful things mattered. Weak things should be removed so strong things could survive, but talked about these dead species like they were treasures. "The air recycler is over there," pointed to a machine in the corner. "It's been making a clicking sound for 3 days." Opened his tool kit and began examining the machine. The problem was simple. A filter was clogged with dust. He cleaned it and the clicking stopped. "You fixed it already," sounded amazed. "The last maintenance person said it would need new parts." Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer. "You're very good at this. How long have you been doing maintenance work?" Paused. He had to be careful with his story. "A few years. I learned from my father." It was a lie. He had never had a father, but smiled like she believed him. "It must be nice to have someone teach you skills like that. My father taught me about gardening. He said every living thing needs care to grow properly." For the next hour, worked on her computer while checked other machines in the lab. She hummed softly while she worked. Sometimes she talked to herself about her research. The sounds were different from the mechanical noises was used to. They were peaceful. When it was time to leave, walked him to the door. "Thank you for fixing the recycler. If you want, you can eat breakfast with me tomorrow. I usually eat early before everyone else gets up." "Why?" "I like the quiet, and I like watching the sunrise through the observation windows. It's one of the few beautiful things about living in space." Nodded. "I will be there." As he walked back to his room, tried to understand what had happened. He was supposed to be studying his target. Instead, he had spent time talking about things that did not matter for his mission. He had noticed that her smile made him feel strange. He had called her lab beautiful. These were not the thoughts of a perfect weapon. These were the thoughts of something else, something he was not supposed to be. Woke up before dawn, just as he had every day for the past 2 weeks. He dressed quietly and walked to the observation deck where would be waiting. This had become their routine. Every morning, they watched the red star rise while drinking something called coffee. Was already there, sitting by the large window. She had 2 cups in her hands and smiled when she saw him. "Good morning. The sunrise is especially beautiful today." Sat down next to her and took his cup. The coffee was bitter but warm. He had grown to like the taste. "Why do you watch this every day? It is the same star. It rises the same way." "But it's never exactly the same," said. "Look at the light today. See how it makes those red clouds. Yesterday they were orange. Tomorrow they might be gold." Looked out the window. For the first time he tried to see what saw. The light was different today. The colors moved and changed as the star climbed higher. It was interesting. "I still do not understand why this matters," he said. Turned to look at him. "Can I ask you something personal?" Felt uncomfortable. Personal questions were dangerous, but he nodded. "Did someone hurt you when you were young? You act like someone who was taught not to feel things." The question surprised him, was more observant than he had expected. "I was raised to be practical. Emotions make people weak." "Who taught you that?" Could not tell her the truth. "My guardians. After my parents died, I was raised by people who believed feelings were a waste of time." His face became sad. "I'm sorry, that must have been very lonely." "I was not lonely, I was focused." "Those can be the same thing," said softly. They sat in silence for a while, drinking their coffee and watching the star. Found the quiet comfortable in a way he could not explain. "Would you like to see something special today?" asked. "What do you mean?" "I've been working on a project that might interest you. It has to do with fixing broken things." In her lab showed him a small plant in a clear container. The plant looked sick. Its leaves were brown and curled. "This is from a world called," she explained. "The soil there was poisoned by mining chemicals. All the plants died, but I think I can fix the genetic damage." She showed him how she used machines to repair the plant's genetic code. It was complex work that required patience and skill. Watched carefully. "Why do you work so hard to save one plant?" he asked. "Because if I can save this one, I can save all the plants like it. Then maybe can be green again." Thought about this. What if the people of do not want the plants back? What if they prefer the mining profits? Paused in her work. Then at least the plants will exist somewhere else. Just because something is not wanted in one place doesn't mean it has no value anywhere. Over the following days, helped with her work. His enhanced abilities allowed him to handle delicate equipment with perfect precision. Was amazed by his skills. "You have the steadiest hands I've ever seen," she said as he adjusted a microscopic genetic sequencer. "And you learn so fast. It's like you were made for this kind of work." Almost told her that he was made for work, but different work. Instead, he said nothing and continued helping. Began teaching him about the plants and animals in her samples. She told him stories about the worlds they came from. Some were beautiful worlds with singing forests. Others were dangerous planets with creatures that could survive in acid rain. Each one was unique. "This one is my favorite," said, holding up a sample containing something that looked like blue moss. "It's from Earth, my home world." Stared at the sample. This was genetic material from the planet the Council had destroyed. The planet he was supposed to help keep destroyed. "What was Earth like?" he asked. His eyes became distant. Green, so much green everywhere. Trees that reached up to touch the sky. Oceans full of life. Animals that sang and played and raised their young with such care. "It sounds crowded." Laughed. It was a sound like music. It was, beautifully, wonderfully crowded. Every space was filled with life trying to grow and survive and thrive. The Council said Earth was diseased, that humans spread something dangerous. His face became serious. The Council was afraid of something, but it wasn't a disease. They were afraid of what humans could teach other species. What could humans teach that was so dangerous? That caring about others makes you stronger, not weaker. That love is worth fighting for. That every life has value, even small ones. That evening, cooked dinner in her small, personal kitchen. She had invited to eat with her instead of going to the mess hall. "I want to show you something humans used to do," she said. "We called it sharing a meal. It's different from just eating food." She had prepared vegetables and something that tasted like meat, but was made from plants. Everything was seasoned with herbs that made mouth water. "This tastes better than anything in the mess hall," he said. Food tastes better when it's made with care, and when it's shared with someone you enjoy being with. As they ate, told him stories about human customs. She explained how families would gather around tables and talk about their days, how friends would cook for each other when someone was sick or sad, how strangers would share food in times of trouble. Humans believed that eating together created bonds between people, she said. It was one of the ways we showed we cared about each other. After dinner, showed him how humans used to listen to music. She played recordings of sounds from Earth. Some were soft and peaceful, others were loud and exciting. All of them made feel things he had no words for. "Why does this affect me?" he asked when a particularly beautiful song made his chest feel tight. "Music speaks to parts of us that words cannot reach," said. "It's one of the things that makes us who we are." That night lay in his bed thinking about the day. He was supposed to be gathering information about weaknesses. Instead, he was learning about genetic repair and listening to music and watching sunrises. He was supposed to report back to the council every 3 days. He had sent 2 reports so far, both saying he was still gaining trust. But that was not the whole truth. The truth was that he looked forward to seeing every morning. He liked the way she explained things with patience and excitement. He liked the way she smiled when he successfully completed a difficult task. He liked the quiet times when they worked together without needing to speak. These feelings were dangerous. They were exactly what the council had warned him about, was using her human virus on him, making him care about things that did not matter. But if caring about and her work was a virus, why did it feel like the first time in his life that he was truly awake? The next morning, when smiled at him over coffee as they watched the sunrise, realized he was in serious trouble. Because for the first time since receiving his mission, he did not want to complete it. Was in his lab adjusting a temperature control when his communicator vibrated. He looked at the message and felt his blood turn cold. The council was sending a backup team. They would arrive in 6 hours. "Everything all right?" asked, noticing his sudden stillness. "Yes, just a message from my company about my next assignment." Nodded and returned to her work, but could see she was not really focused. Something had been bothering her for the past few days. She asked fewer questions and smiled less often. Tried to work normally, but his mind was racing. The council was tired of waiting. They wanted dead today. The backup team would not be patient like him. They would kill everyone on the station if necessary. He had to warn her, but warning her meant revealing who he really was. He said carefully, "If you ever thought you were in danger, what would you do?" She looked up from her computer. "What kind of danger?" "Any kind. Where would you go? How would you escape?" Stared at him for a long moment. Then she closed her computer and walked to the lab door. She pressed a button that locked it. "I think we need to talk." Felt his heart beating faster. "About what?" "About who you really are." Walked to her desk and pulled out a small device. She pointed it at him and watched the screen. "Galactic convergence technology," she said quietly. "Military grade, hidden in your body." She looked up at his face. "You're not a maintenance worker, are you?" Said nothing. There was no point in lying anymore. "How long have you known?" he asked. "I suspected something was wrong after the first week. You're too perfect, too skilled, too controlled, and you ask the wrong questions. You ask about escape routes and security systems. You ask about my work in ways that don't make sense for a maintenance worker. Sat down heavily in her chair. But I kept hopping. I was wrong, because I started to care about you. You have to listen to me. You are in immediate danger. From you. Could not answer. The words stuck in his throat. His face became very pale. Oh God, you're one of them, aren't you? You're a council agent. Yes. You were sent to kill me. Yes. Closed her eyes. When she opened them again, there were tears. How long do I have? The backup team will be here in 6 hours, maybe less. And you, what are your orders? Looked at her sitting there, small and brave and heartbroken. I was supposed to eliminate you myself, days ago. But you didn't. No. Why not? Struggled to find words for feelings he barely understood. Because you showed me things I never knew existed. You showed me that there is more to life than just completing missions. Wiped her eyes. What happens now? I don't know. Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Over the communication system, station manager's voice crackled with panic. All personnel to emergency stations. Unknown ships approaching. This is not a drill. And looked at each other. They're early, said. Ran to her computer and began typing rapidly. I need 10 minutes to upload my research to the hidden network. 10 minutes and everything I've saved can spread across the galaxy. I can give you 10 minutes. Unlocked his toolkit and pulled out his weapons. They were small but deadly, designed to kill quickly and quietly. Wait, grabbed his arm. If you fight them, you'll die. Yes, I will. Then why are you doing this? Looked down at her hand on his arm. Such a small touch, but it made him feel more real than anything in his entire life. Because you taught me that some things are worth dying for. The station shook as the council ships docked. Through the lab's small window, could see dark figures moving through the corridors. The backup team was already inside. His fingers flew across her keyboard. 3 more minutes, she whispered. The lab door exploded inward. 3 council agents in black armor stepped through the smoke. They moved with the same cold efficiency that once had. Subject 779, the lead agent said. Step away from the target. No, said simply. You have been compromised by the human virus. Return to the ship for reconditioning. I said no. The lead agent raised his weapon. Then you will be eliminated as well. Moved faster than human eyes could follow. His first shot took down the lead agent. His second disabled the agent's weapon systems, but there were too many of them and they were as fast as he was. Energy blasts lit up the lab. Equipment exploded. Genetic samples scattered across the floor in pieces. Fought with everything he had, but slowly the agents pushed him back. Dunn shouted, "The upload is complete." One of the agents turned his weapon toward her, threw himself between them, taking the energy blast in his chest. Pain exploded through his body as he fell to the floor. Knelt beside him. Blood was spreading across his shirt. Why, she whispered. You were sent to eliminate me, but instead you protected me. You taught me that even someone created to destroy humans could learn to love. Then why did you teach me love? Smiled despite the pain. Because you taught me first. You showed me what it means to be human. More explosions rocked the station. The council agents were destroying everything, but had already saved the most important parts. Somewhere in the galaxy, her research was spreading from computer to computer. The genetic samples that could bring back extinct species. The cultural records that showed how humans lived and loved. The proof that caring about others made life worth living. The escape pod gasped. Docking Bay 7. I disabled the tracking systems yesterday. Come with me. I cannot, but you can still save what matters most. Kissed his forehead gently. Thank you for showing me that love is stronger than any programming. She ran toward the docking bay while held off the remaining agents. Every shot from his weapon bought her another few seconds to escape. As consciousness faded, thought about sunrises and coffee, and the way smiled when she talked about her work. He thought about music that made his chest feel tight and food that tasted better when shared with someone who cared. The Council had created him to end the human threat. Instead, he had become the proof that humanity's greatest strength could not be destroyed. Love was not a virus to be eliminated. It was a gift that could transform even the darkest hearts. And now that gift was spreading across the stars. Pulled himself up from the lab floor, using his rifle as support. Blood dripped from his wounds, but his enhanced body was still fighting. Through the smoke and sparking equipment, he could see 2 Council agents searching through his destroyed research. "Find the genetic samples," one of them commanded. "Destroy everything." Checked his weapon. 3 shots left. Not enough to stop them all, but maybe enough to buy more time. He thought about her running toward the escape pod. She would be at the docking bay now, preparing the small ship for launch. The tracking systems he had disabled would give her a head start, but Council ships were fast. She would need more than just time to escape. Activated his communicator and connected to the station's computer system. His Council access codes still worked. The backup team had not thought to disable them yet. Through the computer, he could reach every system on the station. And every Council ship docked outside. 779, report status, came a voice through his earpiece. It was the mission commander on the lead Council ship. Target eliminated, lied. Research destroyed, but the station suffered damage in the fight, environmental systems failing. Understood. Return to ship immediately for extraction. Cannot comply. Injured in the fight. Need medical assistance. Sending team to your location. Smiled grimly. They were coming to him, that was good, would have more time. The 2 agents in the lab moved toward the door, heading for his position. Waited until they were close, then opened fire. His first shot dropped 1 agent instantly. The second shot disabled the other's armor systems. The third shot was not needed. The wounded agent retreated, calling for backup. All teams, 779 has been compromised. Eliminate on sight. Now they knew he had turned against them. There would be no more pretending. Dragged himself to his main computer terminal. The screen was cracked but still functional. His fingers moved across the keyboard, accessing files had shown him over the past weeks. The Cultural Archive, music and art and stories from Earth, recordings of human laughter and children playing, images of families gathering for meals, everything that made humans who they were. Had uploaded her genetic research to the hidden network, but she had not had time to send the cultural files. These records of human life were still trapped on the station. When the Council destroyed this place, they would be lost forever. Unless someone did something about it. Connected to the station's long-range communication array. The same system had used for her upload, but instead of sending the files to the hidden network, he programmed them to broadcast openly across the galaxy. Every world, every space station, every ship. A flood of human culture spreading faster than the Council could stop it. Warning, station environmental systems failing, he announced over the communication system. All personnel evacuate immediately. Station destruction in 5 minutes. It was another lie, but it would clear the station of innocent people. Only he and the Council agents would remain. Through the security cameras, watched escape pod detach from the docking bay. The small ship moved away from the station slowly, trying not to attract attention. Council ships began pursuing, but they moved carefully. They still thought she might be aboard a sabotaged ship that could explode. Access the station's main computer core. With his Council clearance codes, he could override every safety system. He could make his lie about environmental failure become reality. But first, he had one more thing to do. He opened a communication channel to his escape pod. Her face appeared on his screen, worried and determined. "Thank God you're alive. Where are you?" "Still on the station. How are your engines?" "Running, but the council ships are gaining. I don't think I can outrun them." "You won't have to." Fingers moved across the control panel, accessing the council ship systems. His clearance code still worked. "I'm uploading new navigation data to their computers. They'll think you went in a different direction." "How are you doing that?" "Council technology. I still have access for a few more minutes." Ship suddenly changed course, moving away from her actual position. The council ships followed the false signals, chasing ghosts. "That was incredible. Can you meet me at the rendezvous point?" Looked at the wounds in his chest. Blood was pooling on the floor around his feet. His enhanced body was failing. "No, I cannot." "What do you mean? Get to an escape pod." "There is no time, and I have more work to do." Through the security cameras, he watched council agents moving through the station corridors. They were searching every room, looking for both him and any research they might have missed. Activated the station's self-destruct sequence. Not the real one that would explode immediately, but a slow cascade failure that would give him 30 minutes, enough time to complete his mission. "What are you doing?" His voice was frightened now. "I'm making sure your work survives, all of it." His fingers flew across the keyboard. The cultural files were uploading now, spreading across thousands of communication networks, music and art and stories, everything that showed the galaxy who humans really were. "The council ships are retreating," said. "They think the station is going to explode." "It is." "Then get out of there." "I cannot. Someone needs to make sure the upload completes, and someone needs to make sure the council cannot stop it." Pulled up another screen. Council command ships were already trying to block the transmissions. They were sending jamming signals and ordering their allies to destroy any equipment receiving human cultural data, but had access to their command codes. Every time they tried to block a transmission, he redirected it through different channels. Every time they ordered an ally to destroy receiving equipment, he countermanded the order with higher authority. "Please find another way." "There is no other way. This is my choice." Through the cameras, he watched the last council agents evacuate the station. His lie about environmental failure had worked. Now only he remained. "You taught me something. You taught me that love means putting someone else's safety before your own. You taught me that some things are worth dying for. But I don't want you to die. I know. That is what makes this love instead of programming." The upload was nearly complete. Human culture was spreading faster than the council could stop it. On 1,000 worlds, beings were hearing human music for the first time. They were seeing human art and reading human stories about courage and hope and love. The empathy virus was spreading, just as the council had feared. But it was not really a virus. It was a gift. A reminder that caring about others made life meaningful. "Promise me something." "What?" "Remember the sunrises. Remember the coffee and the conversations. Remember that someone who was created to destroy learned to love instead." "I promise." "And keep working. Save the species that are lost. Bring green back to dead worlds. Show the galaxy that every life has value." "I will." The upload finished. Every file had collected about human culture was now spreading across the galaxy. The council could never stop it all. Closed the communication channel and initiated the final station shutdown. In 5 minutes, everything would be destroyed, but the important things had already escaped. He thought about flying towards safety, carrying genetic samples that could restore extinct species. He thought about human music playing on alien worlds. He thought about beings across the galaxy learning that love was not weakness but strength. The council had sent him to end the human threat. Instead, he had helped spread humanity's greatest gift to the stars. Love could not be destroyed by weapons or programming. It could only be shared. As the station began its final countdown, smiled. He had completed his mission after all, just not the one the Council had given him. He had chosen love over fear, connection over isolation, hope over despair. He had chosen to be human.